So the next thing that we are going to study under stress distribution is how to determine stress at a point in a soil or in a soil mass wherein the area is rectangular and uniformly loaded. Alright. So equations that we are going to study here are valid for two cases. The first thing is the load is uniformly distributed load and the area is rectangular. Alright, so far what we have studied, the first thing that we studied was a point load. Okay, second thing that we studied was a UDL on a circular area. Now this is a UDL on a rectangular area. Now in this method, what we do is we divide this entire area into parts. They need not be equal, but if now over here I have drawn a case wherein the stress is required at this point A, which is right at the center. So by default you divide this into 4 parts. Okay. Now for each of these 4 parts, you have to determine the point load. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to convert this entire problem of uniformly distributed area over the rectangular uniformly distributed load over the rectangular area to point load over the rectangular area. So how do you convert UDL into point load? UDL is nothing but the load intensity, right? Which we just discussed. We will designate load intensity by small alphabet Q and point loads by capital alphabet Q. So we are trying to convert this small q to capital Q. How do we do it? We multiply it by width and length of the area. So Newton per meter square or kilonewton per meter square, when you multiply by area, it will directly be either kilonewton or Newton based on the units of the load intensity. Right? So we got this. Now what we are going to do, once another point that you have to remember is when you divide this area, the largest dimension of this area should be less than 0.3 Z. Okay, so you cannot divide now. Let's say I want point A. I cannot just divide this into 2 halves. Okay, I have to divide it to get this approximation. See, we are trying to convert a UDL to point load, and then we are finding the effect of this point load onto the point A, point under consideration. So when we are doing this, there is a lot of approximation that we are doing. Effect of point load and effect of UDL on a particular point will definitely not be exactly same. But then our procedure demands that we convert it into a point load. So when will this approximation give you accurate results is when this division has to be in such a way that the largest dimension of each of the area units should be less than 0.3 Z. Okay, so let's say this area is around, I'm just writing, you people please draw the figure. Let's say this area is around 6 by 3, okay, where L is 6 and B is 3. So what will be the dimension of each of these areas? Each of these areas will be 3 by 1.5. Let's say I need to find out the depth at 9 meters. I need to find out depth at 9 meters. So because the depth is 9 meters, okay, the largest dimension, that is this dimension, has to be, okay, L has to be less than 0.3 times 9. That is how much? 2.7. How much is RL? Is 3. So this division is not valid if the depth is 9 meters. Okay, that means each area cannot have L or B. Okay, L or B. L cannot be greater, the largest dimension of this unit should be less than 2.7. So your L has to be less than 2.7. If that is the case, now what do we do if that is the case? So we have to divide it, instead of 4 areas, you can divide it into 6 areas. So how will this figure look like? This will look like this. Okay. So you have 6 areas. Okay. And then you find out effect of each of these areas onto this point at the center, that is A. Okay, fine. So once you find this effect of each of these areas onto A, then you add it. So sigma z at A will be given by point load divided by z square into IB. What is IB? What is the equation for IB? We have already studied that under point load. It remains same. So you remember this equation for point load? What was the value of IB? 3 upon 2 pi divided by 1 upon 1 plus r by z square. Now what is r? R is the radial distance from point O. Now let's go back to our case, and what will be the value of each of the r? Okay, so now we want stress at A. Where is the point load? At Q. What is r? R is the radial distance between A and point Q. So what will be that radial distance? It will be this, between point A and this point. Now what is this point? This is the point where your point load is going to act. We got the value of point load by multiplying load intensity into width into length. Correct? Now where will it act? We got the value. Now since all 4 areas are equal, all Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, all will be equal, because the areas are equal. If you are not dividing them into equal part, then you will have to find for each case, because L and B for each case will differ. Now in this case, let's say the L, since all the 4 parts are equal, L and B values will be equal. Correct? So you get Q1 to Q4 same. Now where will it act? Where does the point load act? It will act at the centroid of these areas. Where is the centroid of this area? Okay, it will be at L by 2 if this is L, and if this is B, then it will be at L by 2 and B by 2. Okay, so you know what is the value of point load, you know where it is acting. Can you tell me what will be the value of this R that appears in your equation? What will be the value of R? Can I write R is equal to under root of L by 2 squared plus B by 2 squared? Yes, Pythagoras equation. So I get the value of R. Now in this diagram, R1, R2, R3, all these R values are same because the area dimensions are same. However, if the area dimension changes, then R value changes, Q value also will change. Okay, and as we solve the problems, all these issues will be a bit more clear. Okay, but what you need to understand when we start with this vertical pressure on uniformly loaded rectangular area, what is our first step? First step is you divide it into small area units. How small? You divide it in area units wherein the largest dimension should be less than 0.3 times the depth. So we are finding the stress at this A. This A is not on the surface. It is deep below. So whatever is the depth that is given to you in your problem statement, your area should have the largest dimension lesser than 0.3 times the depth. Now pay attention, a lot of books are bypassing this particular rule. Okay, a lot of books do not mention anything about this 0.3 times Z, but some books do mention. So to be on the safer side, we will always follow this rule of 0.3Z, because God forbid, let's say you have this kind of problem for your exam and you bypass this rule, the examiner may or may not consider your solution. So always when we divide, sometimes what happens when you follow this 0.3 times z, the number of areas required become more. Still, we will follow this particular rule. Okay, so once we divide this into areas, then we find out the value of this r from the point A and to the point loads. How do we determine the point loads? Multiply intensity by the dimensions of the areas. Once that is done, then it is very simple. Then we just find out a stress due to each of these area and add. So Q1 by z squared into IB. IB will be the influence factor for first area. Q2 by z squared into IB2. Then similarly Q3 by z squared into IB3 plus Q4 by z squared into IB4. So you will get the stress at point A due to all the 4 point loads. Okay. So together all the stresses, individual stresses due to individual area will be added to get total stress. This TS means total stress. Okay.